one more time with feeling for my dear clients. This home, this structure faces south, so we're on the east side of the house. This gas system, apparently there's something going on over here, a heater or something, maybe for a jacuzzi, I don't know. But this gas piping that's not in use should have been capped off. Okay, we've got brick coming along here. We got some kind of underground control wires right here. I don't think it's the lawn sprinkler system, but the conduit's been broken. I think water can get in and compromise that. It's a brick structure, brick and siding. The one thing we're not seeing along here are any control joints. Expansion joints, some people call them, but they're control joints. Call it what you will. But we're just not seeing them. Coming over here, this is the vent fan for the downdraft vent in the kitchen. The kitchen has a downdraft and an updraft, and the updraft is circulating, the downdraft vents out. These are the lawn sprinkler heads, or some of them, and they're closer to the structure than 12 inches. They shouldn't be that. This is a TMP drain line. I believe it's for the upstairs water heater, and it's between 3 and 6 inches from the ground, but what we're not seeing is a cistern. We're not seeing a secondary drain line. Upstairs has a drain pan. I'll look at it a little closer. It has a check valve, so they may have something going on there, trying to mitigate that. Then around here, these fenestrations, windows, garage door for the example, okay? These are weep holes. Okay, homeownership 101, all roofs leak, all walls leak. We design them to shed water faster than they accept it. And you should have weep holes over your fenestrations, which I believe is French for hole in your wall. Okay? Oh, I'm not supposed to say okay a lot. I'm supposed to say, I've heard it sounds demeaning, and I apologize. Okay. We had some high soil. This is the breakfast area. And some of these windows are fogging. Some of them are. Alright, we're going to talk about those a little bit later. But let's talk about this now. This is your patio. And we have negative drainage towards the house right here. And we've got some cracks. And these steps, there's more than 32nd of an inch height differential. Okay? God. But you see, not only is that top step really shallow, look at how much this has gone in. Look how much this has gone in. And then we come over here. Now, look at the door threshold. This wood all looks like it's been added. This is collapsed and pulled, I suppose. But this looks like an afterthought. This looks like a correction, if you will. These exterior receptacle outlets, they should have in-use covers, little bubble covers, so that you can plug in things and then close the cover, and then you can, that way rain doesn't come in. If you had something plugged in over here and a rainstorm came, well, this would be open, and then you get water in your electrical. There's a little door stopper right here. It's kind of boogered up a little bit. Again, the patio is kind of cracking all along here. I don't know what that foam is. I'm afraid it's for your clothes dryer. That's what I'm afraid it is. And they clogged it up, or I don't know. I don't know what that is. Got a little bit of cracks developing right in here. Coming along here, bushes, debris. That's all conducive to wood destroying insects. This is well, there's your clothes dryer vent. Huh. This is for the garage water heater. That's the temperature pressure relief drain line. And that's higher from the ground than 6 inches. And like the other one, I don't see a drain pan. This is the front faucet. Okay, I can't get to it. So this vacuum breaker is failing. It's got a lot of pressure. But it probably won't do that, or do that as bad, if you didn't have this gauge hooked up to it. You just had a regular water hose, but it will do it some, so it is failing. And we're looking at about 50 psi. 50 psi right there. This is your grounding rod. Now today's standards would be to have 2 of them, and they're supposed to be buried. You're not supposed to have 6 inches of grounding rod sticking up. Now this is an interesting thing that I'd like to bring up to everybody's attention. Usually when an electric meter pulls away from the house, they pivot outwards. So that this one is pivoting this direction, that tells me that we've got some movement. The stress from the structure is moving this. It's not the mounting bracket, it's failing. And over here you can see that this is all moved out about 1 inch. So as this pressure is moved out, because this conduit's all here, it couldn't go anyplace. So this brick is moved out and it shoved the electric meter over, which should be sealed on 3 sides. Garage door casement should not be in direct contact with the sidewalk, with the garage, with the floor. The driveway that will allow capillary action. Capillary action will allow water or cause water to wick up inside the wood and rot it. Again, we do not have weeps. Coming over here, so we've got a clothes dryer vent. So I don't even know what that vent is for. Vent, hole, conduit. What is that? What is that? I don't know. But your siding is warping over here. See that? And then we come over here, and your butt joints. When this was installed, I understand there's some new instructions. When this was installed, the butt joint was not supposed to be sealed like that, and it should have flashing tape behind it, which you will not find. These are soffit vents. That is your secondary drain line. It's supposed to be over a window, so if that's leaking, you know that you've got an issue. Coming along here, same thing with the butt joints again. This band board. There's a band board across here. We got some wood rot right in there. These exterior light fixtures should be sealed so that moisture doesn't go back behind the wall. We're in the garage. The garage doors, they're metal. The manual door locks have been decommissioned. That's a good thing. I'd have written it up if it wasn't. You got pull handles inside and outside of the doors. The optic sensors are not supposed to be closer to the garage floor than 6 inches. And then these cables, these control cables, they're not supposed to be insulated. They're not supposed to be fastened with regular staples. They're supposed to be fastened with insulated staples. And then there should be tension stickers on each corner of the door. And there should be a warning notice posted inside of the door. You get your pull handle. That's kind of short right there. Coming on along. Making sure I don't forget it. So the pull handle's kind of short. I'm going to jump around a little bit. This is downstairs. This is upstairs. Condensing unit. Downstairs and upstairs according to the labeling. These are both 40 amp breakers. Okay. The upstairs condensing unit is a newer unit and 35 is the maximum, so that's overfused. We got copper to copper. Today, okay, there would be little rubber protectors right there. And the neutral coming into the house, that should be wrapped with white tape. If you don't know that's the neutral, you don't belong in this panel. Then we've got bundling. It's pretty common. See all these knockouts? Those are for these wires. You're not supposed to bring more than 2 in. These large ones, all right, they're for L1 and L2 to come in. But it's a lot more convenient for a lazy electrician to just knock that out, drop them all in. What happens here, probably nothing. It's called the skin effect. And when you have all these wires bundled, that's the term, all these wires bundled, cables bundled like that, then that generates more heat than it normally would. These cables, in part because of the bundling, they're not supposed to be in direct contact with the cover. Okay? They're not supposed to be in direct contact with the cover. Neutrals, it's okay for grounds, but neutrals should not be double lugged. You got one screw and two wires, one screw and two wires. That shouldn't happen like that. We got open knockouts in the end. This box is supposed to be fire rated. So if you have a fire in here, there's nothing that keeps it from jumping down there and, you know, catching on the wall. This panel is not supposed to be further from the sheetrock in any direction than 1/8 of an inch. Some people say 1/4 of an inch, but that's either. So what happens is the panel cover is right here, and this gap compromises the fire blocking. You should also have in here your grounding, your bonding location should be listed in here, which it isn't. So moving on along, these are the door opener switches. It'd be nice if they were labeled, but you should have a warning notice, and they shouldn't be closer to the floor than 5 feet, so little hands don't come up and mess with these. This smaller door doesn't work like it should. It binds. Also on the smaller door, we're going to notice that this top panel is being repaired. I wonder what the other one looks like. It's fine. Pull handles, decommission, too high, wrong wires, short handle. Now today, this house wasn't built today. Today, these would be GFCI protected, and they're not. Fluorescent tubes in the garage, they should be protected with protective prism covers. This is a garage water heater. This is a safety pin, which I don't know where it drains to. It doesn't drain anywhere. No carry and use manual. It's electronic ignition. We do not have a sediment trap for the gas line. These gray connectors should have been replaced. We know this wasn't replaced with a permit because of the gray connectors. Those have been very problematic. And I'm a hypocrite about a lot of things, but I would have changed that. We don't have a carry and use manual in here. We've got more than 5 90-degree bends. Let's count. 1, 2, 3 in the wall. 4. We're going out. 5. Then towards the ground outside. 6. So this has a minimum of 6 right there. Not bad. I guess it's not bad. It's bad. But we've got corrosion forming on the bottom side of the valve right there. And we've got insulation on this guy, but we don't have insulation on those guys. I'm going to get up there. Can I get up there now? All right. Be careful with it. Get a look. See if we got some dielectric unions. It might be. I'll have to check that when I get back to the home office. The back cave. No GFCI in the garage. By the way, the receptacle on the back porch, it wasn't working. The rails are kind of beat up a little bit. Coming along here is a lawn sprinkler. The cover's missing. No instructions. The zones are not labeled. Moving along, bushes too close. Wood mulch underneath the drip line. This is the upstairs unit, that's the York. This is the downstairs unit. This has 410 in it. 410A, that's a good refrigerant. This still has the old style refrigerant. Here's the data plate. You get a still image of that. The electric conduit's loose from it. The insulation's missing from the low pressure refrigerant lines. The Schrader valve, refrigerant service ports, by today's standards, not today, not yesterday's, but those should be anti-theft Schrader valve caps that prevents theft, but basically kids huffing. These are your different disconnects for both units. Again, this one's for the upstairs. This one does not have a dead front cover plate. This is a dead front cover plate I'm going to replace. It keeps people from shocking themselves. So all this is exposed, and without the dead front cover plate, you can see all the rust in there. And that's corroded a little bit, but it doesn't have nearly the rust that this one has because it doesn't have the protection. I'll put it back in a little bit. This is the newer unit. Let's say newer unit. Let's talk about these air conditioners here for just a moment. These condensing units, if you will. They're both 3.5 tons. This one's R22. This is 410. This one is 2016. 4 years old. Right. This one is 1989. They last about 14 years. They're engineered on paper to last 20. But Las Vegas is going to give you 14 years in Texas. So that's just the way it works. Now, as long as it's working, it's working. That's the pushback you're going to get. Is it performing the function for which it's intended? A wrong kind of insulation on the piping, and of course exposed piping. This should be a rigid pipe. These units should be 3 inches off the ground. They should be level. They're not. So a guy from the 80s. Alright, he's rusting, he's falling apart. The case is. And here's an interesting fan. This fan looks like it's designed. Let's see which way it goes. So we got a capacitor, electric connections, just sitting out here in the open, waiting for somebody to grab. It's got some torque. Okay. So I can't tell by the way these fan blades are. There we go. This fan is actually forcing air into the crawl space. Or to force air into the crawl space. Usually it's the other way around. Usually what I see. Bushes too close to the house. Rain gutters above grade. This one's disconnected right there. Coming along. Remember earlier I was talking about, I know what that fan was for. That was for the hall. That was for the half bath. That mystery. To bring it around here. That guy right up there, that's for the half bath vent. Which we'll talk about in the next video about it not working. Spoiler alert. Alright. We come along here. No expansion control joints. We know this place is going to move. Look at those cracks. There's some pretty good cracks right in there. Pretty good cracks. I measured the foundation, shot it. It's about 1.5 inches out, which is totally acceptable. Measurement wise, that's not the final word. We use that information to give us clues. I'm not an engineer. Outside, we're missing about 3 or 4 of these exterior luminaries. The tree shouldn't be closer to the structure than 25 feet. Coming down and around. Shoot both ways. Out here on the street, it's beyond what I do. But this curb is loose. Okay. And the gate, the back driveway gate, is beyond the scope of this inspection. And it doesn't work. The chain's off of it. I got a still image of that. the water is too murky. Ground is saturated, the irrigation box is too full, the water meter's down there, and I can't see it. I can't see the dial. I cannot make a determination whether it may or may not be leaking. It's just an unknown. We're in the front flower bed here, and these are the main cleanouts for the sewer system. And this is the main shutoff valve for the house. And you can see the handle's rusty. It's above grade, so it's it could freeze. Probably won't with a cover, but it could. Moving on along. Missing some screens. Got some soffit damage up here. I can see through these trees. Some soffit damage up there. Right up in there. What am I looking? There we go. Soffit damage right up in there. We don't have kick-out flashing right here on the roof. More missing luminaries. Coming along, you're not supposed to have more than a 32nd of an inch difference. That's a half an inch difference. It's not a lot. Not a lot, but that's what we have. Exterior light fixture should be sealed. No GFCI on the front porch. The back porch was inoperable. I don't know if I can get it to operate. We're going to find out. No GFCI. We do not have the in-use covers. This is your doorbell. And it's got the gap right here, the way it was installed. Water. If my pen can get in there, water can get in there. Lawn sprinkler's too close. Moving out a little bit. At the top of these columns, especially the one on the right, which would be the north one. No, the house faces south. East one. Alright, we got a little bit of wood rot right there. We got some damaged rain gutter right there. Back to the roof. I won't be able to get on top of this roof. I don't have that much ladder. Okay. We got squirrels been getting into the attic, or rats. There's cages in the attic, by the way. We got that. And what I wanted to call your attention to, I find this on just about every one of them. But we're missing some shingles right up here where the tree's been rubbing on it. Got some torn shingles. I was looking for the flashing overlaps. I can't see that right now. More soffit damage right up in there. Soffit damage right up in there. Torn shingles. Some of this is redundant. More missing screens, more fogging windows. Looks like they used to have some faux shutters on the front of this house at one time. Wood mulch too close. So yeah, if they're not using this, it should have been discontinued right up here. This is where we started. That's the gas line that's been decommissioned. This is, again, we're on the east side of the house. This is the gas meter right there. So it's on the east side of the formal dining area.